Jack and the Beanstalk. A poor woman lived out in the country with her son, Jack. Years ago, when Jack was just a baby, a terrible giant had done away with Jack's father and had stolen his gold and treasure. The woman was left to raise Jack as best as she could. Jack and his mother both worked hard, but no matter how hard they tried, there never seemed to be enough money to keep food on the table. At last, there was no money left at all. Jack's mother said, "Jack, dear, take the cow to market today and sell her for a good price." On his way to market, Jack met a stranger. The man asked where he was going. Jack replied, "I'm going to market to sell this cow, so my mother and I can have food to eat." "I will give you these 5 magic beans for the cow," said the stranger. Jack thought that was a good deal, so he traded his cow for 5 magic beans. When Jack returned to the cottage, he burst through the door and said, "Look at the 5 magic beans I got for the cow." "Jack, what have you done? These beans aren't worth anything. Now we will go hungry," cried his mother as she threw the beans out the window. Jack and his mother quietly went to bed without any supper. Jack woke up early the next morning and went outside. He was amazed to see a huge beanstalk had sprung up outside the window during the night. It had grown so high that he couldn't see the top. Although he was afraid of the long, hard climb, Jack decided to see where it led. Maybe he could find a way to help his mother. Jack climbed the beanstalk for a very long time. When he finally reached the top, he saw a great castle. Tired and hungry after his climb, Jack set out for the castle to ask for something to eat and some work to do. When he reached the castle steps, he saw a woman 10 times larger than anyone he'd ever seen. "Please, ma'am," said Jack, "I haven't eaten in a long time. Could you give me supper?" "If you stay here, you'll be the giant's supper," the woman said. Jack was scared. He realized that this was the wife of the giant, the same giant who had killed his father. However, he was so hungry he still begged to eat. The woman finally gave in and let Jack come in the kitchen. She fixed a plate of food and gave it to him. Jack had just finished eating when he heard the thump, thump, thump of heavy footsteps. Jack was so frightened he couldn't move. Just as the giant came into the kitchen, the woman popped Jack into the cool oven to hide him. When the giant arrived, he sniffed the air and roared, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." "It's just your supper you smell," said the giant's wife. The giant gobbled up his entire supper. Jack watched from his hiding place. He'd never seen someone eat so much food. Then the giant said to his wife, "Bring me my gold." The woman brought out the gold. The Jack kept very still as he watched the giant count the gold over and over. Finally, the giant fell asleep. Jack's mother once told him his father's gold had been stolen by the green giant. Jack quietly climbed up on the table. Then he snatched a bag of gold and ran away. When Jack reached the beanstalk, he dropped the gold down to his mother's garden and climbed down as fast as he could. Jack's mother was very happy when the gold coins rained down and Jack came back safely. The mother and son made the gold last for a very long time, but finally there was no more. Jack decided to climb the beanstalk again. He would have to get back all of his father's treasure despite any danger. Jack returned to the giant's castle. He crept softly into the kitchen and hid in the oven again. Soon the giant's footsteps shook the floor and he roared, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." "There's no one here," said the giant's wife. The giant ate his supper quickly, then bellowed for his hen. Then the giant shouted, "Lay!" Jack peeked out and saw the hen lay a perfect golden egg. After the giant fell asleep, Jack jumped out of the oven, grabbed the hen, and ran away. When Jack reached the beanstalk, he scaled down quickly while carrying the hen. Jack's mother told him that this hen had also belonged to his father and a magic harp. The hen laid a golden egg every time it was told to lay, so Jack and his mother now had everything they needed. After a while, though, Jack thought about the harp that used to belong to his father. Even though he would face great danger, Jack decided to climb the beanstalk one last time. He would make his way to the castle and find the harp. As soon as he arrived at the castle, Jack sneaked into the kitchen and hid in a huge copper pot. The giant thumped into the kitchen at supper time, sniffing the air. "Fee, fi, fo, fum." This time, the giant's wife scurried over to the oven and looked inside, but it was empty. The giant looked all around the kitchen. Jack was terribly afraid of being found. Luckily, the giant didn't check inside the big pots, so he didn't find Jack. The giant gobbled his supper and then called for his harp. His wife brought in a very special harp made of gold. The giant commanded the harp to play. Its golden strings played beautiful music. Then the harp began to sing a lullaby. Soon the giant fell asleep. When Jack heard snoring, he climbed out of the pot and went onto the table. For a moment, he was afraid to be so near the giant. He took a deep breath, grabbed the harp, and started to run off with it. "Master, master!" the harp cried. The giant woke with a start and made a grab for Jack. With the harp in his arms, Jack jumped off the table and ran for his life. Jack could hear the giant's thunderous footsteps crashing down right behind him. The giant took very big steps, but he'd eaten a huge supper. All that food slowed him down just enough. Jack was able to reach the beanstalk first. Jack hurried down the beanstalk with the harp. He called to his mother as he went, "Bring me the axe!" The giant was already halfway down the stalk when Jack reached the ground. He quickly took the axe from his mother and with one mighty chop cut down the beanstalk. The giant fell to the ground, and that was the end of him. Brave Jack and his mother lived happily ever after.